Hello everybody, welcome back. Let's have a look at Ocean Protocol. We'll look at the charts. There's a lot of videos out there that talk about the fundamentals, which are obviously pretty good. They've completed their roadmap. They're waiting on basically adoption at this point now. So the implementation of their product is what's needed to really lift the price astronomically. But for the moment, we've got to look at the charts. We've got to work out, is there a bottom? Is the bottom in? Is the bottom coming close? What's going on with it? So let's have a look. We're going to look at both Sats and Tether on this one because we need to look at both to try and establish where this is going and where we can pick it up from. So at the moment, it's not a very strong chart at all. It's actually really terrible actually, and that's fine because we want to pick this up at the bottom because when it goes, it is going to go. But at the moment, there's nothing to suggest that it is going to go anywhere apart from maybe even make lower lows. Which is fine because we want it lower because we want to buy it low. So every time it goes up, we make more. And again, this is a long-term investment. So what we're looking to do at this point now is essentially pick it up at its bottom. Not just pick it up low and sell it high, literally pick it up low so we can hold on to it for a really long period of time. So let's have a look then. On the 4 hourly on both Sats and on Tether, we both have a death cross. Death cross took place here. That was about 2 weeks ago. Death cross took place at this level here. So even though we took a death cross, we actually bounced all the way up to break up above these these moving averages, which is kind of rare. That doesn't normally happen. So you've got to take it for what it's worth. There is a death cross taking place there, but yeah, smashed above the 50 and the 200 on 2 occasions, but then broke straight back down again from that, essentially playing out the death cross. Now, because the death cross took place in this zone around this price action, we're going to measure out what could potentially be the areas of significance where we're looking to buy this back at and see if there's any confluence between these zones around here. So from that area there, a 29% retrace, which is what we'd kind of be looking to get for a death cross of any significance, would bring us to around about 30 flat, basically about 30 cents flat. So we're going to chart this in at this level with a blue box territory of a potential buy zone anywhere from 30 to perhaps maybe, let's have a look, maybe these levels about 34. So this would be a potential area for it to be bought back at for the long run, maybe even putting in a bottom around these levels. So that means that there is, from where we are at right now, a decent drop looking to take place, 18% to as much as about 26% from where we are at right now. So I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but it would appear on this chart alone, it does look like it's kind of likely. And with what I think is going to happen with Bitcoin, which is staggered moves down before the inevitable move right back up again, it wouldn't surprise me if Ocean actually falls down to those low levels. Now, even if we do fall down to those low levels, am I looking for a bounce, a massive bounce from there? Probably not. But would I be looking for it to make any further lows than this level? Probably not. I don't think it would. Now, what we're looking at here is maybe you could consider this to be a giant cupping handle, but it's too messy for me to say that that is the case. What are we looking at when it comes to further indicators? We see RSI coming down into the really low territory, but this is a 4 hourly chart, but it's got the most significance for a chart of this size, which is very, very small. And on this channel, I used to sort of trade these small coins with small charts that are new to Binance, and they're difficult because the best way to trade a chart is a chart with a long history. The longer the history, the easier it is to work out supports, resistances, trend lines, cycles even. With this, we don't have that, so what we're doing is we're kind of making it up as we go along because the chart is really not very old. Now, the chart does exist on a longer term time frame to this on other exchanges. And it was, obviously all the way down at 10 cents at one point this year, and that's that has to be taken into consideration when we look at these highs. We have to think of ourselves as in a false sense of security that these are our lows. The coin has been lower than these in the past. Just this year, it was just we don't have access to that chart on Binance, but that's okay. Now, there's a lot of other coins that turn up on Binance that have a similar kind of rhythm to this, which is SXP as a good example. SXP came onto the scene, had a massive move, and then went completely parabolic, probably through a lot of really good marketing, in all fairness. Ocean hasn't really got the same kind of deal. It's got good promotion out there because of what it represents, and the market that it's looking to penetrate. But it's not been in any way, shape or form been FOMO'd into in that respect. So we aren't looking for as much of a significant retrace as we were for SXP. However, we are looking for more retrace on this one. So Death Cross playing out into this blue box zone. This would be the buyback area. Start buying back anywhere from around about 34, maybe 35, to as low as about 29, maybe 30. That is the zone to be picking it up at, and like I say, I'm not guaranteeing that we will fall down to those levels, but it looks relatively likely. Now, if we move over to the Sats chart, what we see is we saw an effective death cross from this zone here. Okay, so we've got to bear in mind what this means. So if we measure it down, so that's where the price action started, we've already come down 31% on the Sats, okay, which means that the Sats might be looking to bottom out, sooner than the Tether, which makes sense, because what we'll be looking at for the Tether to go down would be a retrace for the market overall. So that kind of makes sense. It means that I'm looking for Bitcoin to retrace down to these levels, or maybe even down to these levels, which would mean that the whole market would retrace with it. The Sats would also retrace some, definitely, but the Tether would retrace more than the Sats at this point, is what I'd be expecting. So Ocean coming down to these levels for Tether will be more dramatic than the Sats. Sats have been drained from pretty much every asset recently. As you will well know, Bitcoin has gone crazy, and that's why all assets generally have a chart looking similar to this. But this has got negative implications to it, because it's got death crosses underneath the itchy red clouds, so we are looking for more downtrending on this one. But there has been a couple of occasions here where we've come down pretty low with the money flow index, but not in any point has this been a significant buy signal. This was the lowest that we came down here, this level here. I believe that was the lowest we came down, and it's basically touching upon what could be recognised as a buy signal, and it would have been relatively decent to have bought it there as well, recognising that that was close enough to a buy signal as you usually get on a money flow index, and that would have been a 63%, almost 64% move from there. Not that anyone really would have been able to take advantage of that in full, but it did exist. Now, if we look at this, we do have a bit of a resistance trend line that would need to be broken as well. So again, we're just looking for lower lows to take place, and with this, I mean, we are making lower lows every day with the Sats at this point, and that's fine. That's fine, because it just needs to do that. And again, the main thing would be to look at this with its Tether pairing at this point rather than its Satoshi pairing, because these being the bottom zones, and no way at all, there's not been at any point now on this chart, on the 4-hourly chart, to suggest that this is a buy zone. Yes, there's going to be sort of, I suppose, bounces, and you could argue that this would be an area for it to bounce at. We've got tops here, we've also got supports here. So again, that is, where we are at right this very moment would be considered to be an area for a potential bounce. But I think, given the state of this chart at the moment, on the 4-hourly at least, we are looking to actually break down beneath there. And, between here and there, there's nothing really to keep us up. Not really. We do have, I suppose, these tops here around about 38 cents, 38.5 cents. But really, I suppose this should also be a blue box, to be honest. But I think this is all going to get broken pretty soon, to be honest with you. So we'll put one in from here to here, and this would be an area also of support. But with what I'm expecting to happen, which is further downtrend with Bitcoin, even if it's just a little temporary bit for a small space of time, these are the zones to be buying at. So right this very moment, you could go in for a buy, you could do that, but me personally, I'm more interested in this zone here. This would be the area where I'd be very interested in. So really, I don't have a great deal more to provide you on this chart, because the chart is very small, and we can't get over the fact that we topped out here, There was a massive drop all the way back down here, and then a massive big move all the way up here, and now we're looking to come back down here again. And in my book, it is kind of that simple. Moving averages all crossing down, facing down, MACD facing down, RSI down, money flow index trickling out to a 0. We're looking for the really big drop, into this zone, and that would be the buyback zone. Obviously there's risk, there's always risk involved with everything, but this would be the area for me. Anyway, I'm going to leave it with you there, nice, short and sweet. Hopefully that clears up some of the finer details. And I don't have a time frame for this, but it is all to do with Bitcoin, and whatever Bitcoin does, all alts will follow. So when Bitcoin collapses and falls back into the ground, if it does, and I'm talking 16,000, maybe more, then yes, these zones. Below these zones would be, I suppose, a little bit dangerous, but coming back down to the absolute bottom, which is where we bottomed here, on this chart I should say, obviously there are charts that go lower than this, but this zone, well, that would be make or break for it. I'm afraid it would be make or break for it. Now, if you're buying this on the back of a fundamental analysis, which is a lot of the reason why I'm buying into it, fundamentally I see a decent future for this one long term. Then yeah, you buy at every opportunity. You try and buy it at every single opportunity. But when the chart looks like this and it looks like it wants to come down significantly, then you wait for these zones to get bought back at, just so you get a much better price. I mean, effectively, if we did break down to here and then this area broke down and we came down to this zone, you're basically getting things at all close to half price. So I'm not saying this zone's going to get taken out. This is the zone of interest, but until we see, and I wouldn't just be buying it flat out at these levels, I'd be waiting to see how it kind of reacts. But yeah, there's more down for this chart and for this coin, in my humble opinion. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there, but I would suggest you take a look at the bots that I've got going. I've got links for you to set up bots. Join my Telegram chat. We can talk about bots all day. Lots of my members now are using bots, and lots of them are absolutely smashing it. I've got people on there that are doing 20% a day just from their bot trading. So I would definitely suggest join my Telegram, subscribe to this channel, and think about exploring new avenues of cryptocurrency, because rather than just simple spot trading, which can be long and drawn out and boring, waiting for the right entries like what we're doing with this coin for instance, you could go straight in for the kill on some bot trading and let those bots make profit for you while you sleep and while you're awake. Anyway, take it easy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the Telegram.